All right, we want to bring in Joe Donnelly. He's a former U.S. ambassador to the Holy See, having spent a lot of time with Pope Leo XIV's predecessor, Pope Francis. Joe, thanks so much for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me with you today.
So did you have this on your bingo card? Pope
he
Leo?
was not at the top of my bingo card.
So what do you think? What kind of a pope? I know it's too early to really know anything, but what kind of a pope do you think he's going to be?
He'll be extraordinary. Actually, Francis promoted him really quickly because he was doing such a fabulous job. He was only named a cardinal 2 years ago, and then became the head of the bishops area. So he worked with all the bishops and would have been probably at the top of the list almost if he wasn't an American. And so the people who were talking about him and talking to the other bishops were saying, he's an American. But he's the least American of the Americans.
Wow. I mean, he was elected second day, fourth ballot.
Right.
Comparably, that's pretty quick. And do you
like winning a baseball game in the fourth inning. Right?
Do you have a theory on the speed with which he was?
I think a lot of the work was done before the conclave ever started. Like after the funeral, there's about a week or some time where they have dinner with each other and talk to each other. And I think a lot of the preparation work was done so that when they walked in, he was somebody who I think had significant support before it even started.
So you don't think there was a great deal of deliberating going on during the conclave?
I think there was some, but, you know, they say the Holy Spirit chooses the next pope. The Holy Spirit started work early this time.
All right.
As you mentioned, Pope Francis promoted him very quickly. What do you think Pope Francis would think of the conclave's choice?
I think he'd be thrilled. And I think what would also thrill Francis is he knows Pope Leo is his own man, that he has some of Francis's traits, but he brings his own persona to this. And what struck me the most when he was on the balcony was how comfortable he was. That he's like, he was ready for this.
You know, Joe, you've talked about, people have talked about the progressive side, the liberal side, and it seemed like this all came together, as you said, fairly quickly. Do you think something in his background, is especially being like an Augustine, of the Augustine order, that kind of speaks to that, to be able to approach both sides?
The Augustinians, like one of their hallmarks is community, to bring people together. And while there have been some really strong culture war almost moments in the church, he didn't get into those. He focused on his job. And I think when they were talking to each other, the bishop said, well, nobody's going to get everything they want, but he can work with all of us.
Wow. Ambassadors, thank you. Thanks for all your help this week as well. It'll be interesting to see what this means for the growth of the Catholic Church in this country as well.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC, or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.